Welcome, everybody, to this week's iHearthU King of the Hill event. I'm DKMR Varanus, and I'm joined by my fellow teammate DKMR Brad, fresh off a win in the first DKMR Invitational event. How's it going, Brad?
Not too bad. How are you, Francis?
Doing pretty good. I'm excited for this week's matchup. We've got Isuba's Alesh up against Mim's Tice. Tice has been on a tear. He's tied Curse's Savitz and Curse's Alchemix, formerly of DKMR as well, for that pristine 4-0 record. Tice is looking to break that record with a nice 5-0 here. Do you think he's going to be able to pull it off here against Alesh?
I think he's going to. He's been doing great showings in the Zotac Cup, all the weekly tournaments. I believe he's up to either 5 or 6 wins in the Zotac Cup alone on both NA and EU combined. He's been a strong player out there for sure, and I think he's going to pull through today.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of got to pull for Tice here too. I mean, playing for the record, and I think he holds the record for Zotac wins. Isuba was really doing well in the Gentleman's Cup, but largely on the back of Alesh. But I know they've kind of faltered here recently. But let's take a look at the decks they're playing in the first round. Looks like we've got Alesh playing kind of a basic Shaman mid-range deck. And Tice is playing the old nemesis of the meta, Miracle Rogue. What do you think about this matchup?
I think this is slightly favored for the Miracle Rogue.
Definitely.
Shaman can definitely pull its own, but this deck doesn't have a Doomhammer, which is a very important card in this matchup, so that might hold him back from the win here.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that in Alesh's deck, but yeah, Doomhammer's a big way that Shaman can just pull through that burst damage to get over Miracle Rogue and win the game fast enough before Miracle Rogue can set up their combo.
Yeah, another interesting thing to point out is you only run in one Fire Elemental.
Oh wow, that's really interesting. I wonder what his thought process was on that. I don't know if I've ever seen Shaman run only one Fire Elemental.
Well, he has two Argent Commanders in there, so I'm guessing, maybe 4 or 6 drops is a little too much. But it does push more damage, which might help a little bit in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of sensible reasoning with the Argent Commander being able to push extra damage. It's also, I feel I've been trying it out in like several decks like Warriors. I mean, obviously it's always in Shaman, but it's just a really good removal spell for a lot of those minions out there like Auctioneer and Azure Drake. There's a lot of 4 health minions being played right now. And Argent Commander he's a little heavy on the mana, but he tends to trade really well with a lot of the minions out there. So it's definitely interesting. We'll have to see how that works out for Alesh here as he tries to take down the Titan Tice in this matchup. So let's go and get into game 1 and see how things go.
All right, let's do it.
Tice on Miracle Rogue and Alesh on Shaman midrange here. Looks like Alesh has got that acidic Swamp Ooze in his opening hand. Tice has got his Auctioneer, so both getting 2 of their important cards in this matchup.
Tice. Okay, usually I think I'd keep the Earthshock against Miracle Rogue because they play a lot of cards like, maybe he knows Tice's deck, but a lot of them play Loot Hoarder and Blood Mage, obviously, so that's a pretty important card. Not to mention, it can also be used on Van Cleef as well.
Yeah, there's
so
only...
card I'd kept.
There's only so many cards you're going to be interacting with in the Rogue deck. Generally, I would say you want to draw the answers to their important threats, and then you want to draw an aggressive curve to try and end the game quickly before they can have access to their combo. And obviously, Tice here, no real other plays aside from daggering up. He chooses not to attack with the dagger, obviously, giving him the opportunity if he draws a Deadly Poison to be able to play the Deadly Poison, save both charges. And so what do you think about Alesh opting not to play the Acidic Swamp Ooze and kind of get the beats rolling here?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think you have to hold on to it until they play a Deadly Poison. It's usually the way to go with the Swamp Ooze against Miracle Rogue.
Trying to get that at least kind of plus a half a card there. And Tice opts to just use his mana efficiently, play the Earthen Ring. So what do you think Alesh's best play is here? He's got a couple options here. He's got Earthen Ring, he's got Argent Squire.
Yeah, I think I would just go with the Argent Squire and the Totem here. Could also go with Earthen Ring, obviously, like you said, but...
Yeah, that life gain is going to be pretty important in this matchup, I would imagine, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, and once more, a couple options here. The Fan of Knives looks pretty good here. You can pop the shield on the Argent Squire, get the totem down into the dagger range as well. I'd probably play the Fan of Knives and then use the dagger to kill the taunt, and then the Earthen Ring to kill the Squire here. That's interesting.
Yeah,
It looks like he opted not to do it kind of the reverse order there. What are your thoughts on that?
yeah, I think that's the way I do it as well. I value the 1 health on the Earthen Ring more than the hero, at least at this stage of the game.
Fair enough. Yeah, but my thinking is just kind of 2 health and 3 health are kind of the same in a lot of sense against Shaman, since most of their spells do
Sure.
3 damage. Although that Lightning Storm, that Earth Shock could definitely be ways where 2 damage is relevant as well.
Okay, so he can backstab SI Agent here would be a pretty quick way to deal with that Azure Drake, but I'm sure he wants to save that backstab for the Gadgetzin.
Yeah. He could drop the gadgets in here, play the backstab, and then run the 3/3 into it, but then he really leaves his auctioneer open. You really want to save the auctioneer to get at least two
Ooh, it
draws.
looked like he might just drop the SI Agent here.
Yeah, it looks like he was
really wanted to save that backstab for the Gadgetzin.
Yeah, it looks like he was considering to use the Eviscerate there instead of the backstab SI7
Okay,
agent,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I think the Eviscerate has a lot of value later in the game. Definitely probably should not swing here. Save it for that Deadly Poison, yep.
Yeah, essentially this does the same thing, but it uses the cards better actually because it gives you the extra 2 damage with the SI Agent, which you didn't get with the Eviscerate.
Yeah.
And it also lets you equip the dagger, which may come into use next turn. You can do something like Deadly Poison, SI, something like that.
This is a little less mana efficient since you want access to those cheaper cards in combination with the Auctioneer later in the game, but the fact that you do have the Deadly Poison here, and this does set up the Deadly Poison, so it looks like he got a little unlucky there with the SA7 agent, but he's going to use that Earth Shock to finish it off there. This could open up a clear path through like a Van Cleef, or we know Tice isn't running Loot Hoarders.
Ooh, and he got the Preparation. That's a huge card to draw right now.
Nice,
with the
yeah.
Gadgetzin in hand.
It's going to give him a really powerful turn with Auctioneer here. So he could play it right now. He could play Auctioneer, Prep, Deadly Poison, and say Sap on the Argent Squire. But it looks like
I'm not really liking that though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with his
He's got a clear. Although he's going to get bit here by the Acidic Swampers, getting both charges off that on that Deadly Poison weapon.
Yeah, that's pretty huge right there.
Indeed, and he's got the Lightning Bolt to follow up with as well. Not really building his board so much, but dealing very efficiently with Tice's threats. A little well played coming out there.
Against any other deck, this would be pretty huge, but unfortunately, Tice has the Gadgetzin and the Prep in his hand, so...
Yeah, Tice definitely has the hand to, a little thank you. I don't know if that's a little bit of BM or if that's just appreciating the well play they got thrown out there.
Nothing wrong with a little bit of smack talk here and there, but it was probably not.
Yeah. So
he goes Gadgetzin Prep. He's probably going to see something like an Eviscerate here. He doesn't want to sap that, obviously, because he's just going to destroy another weapon with it.
Yeah, there's no value in sapping it. The damage you're losing off the Eviscerator really isn't a big deal. You're trading it for a card and drawing another card, so...
Ooh, he draws the other Gadgetzin with a backstab. That's huge.
Yeah, that's a really powerful hand here. And but Alesh does, again, he does have the Hex. Ooh, he draws a Lava Burst here. What are your thoughts on using the Lava Burst versus the Hex on the Auctioneer here?
I think I would also go with the Hex, only because there really isn't that many Hex targets in a Mercuro deck, besides, you know, Van Cleef, Gadgetzin, and Drake are the best 3.
Yeah, the Lava Burst has a lot of upside as being a burn spell to end the game, potentially, too. And also makes your following turn a lot weaker as well, due to that overload on the card.
Right, if he draws something like, well, he's going to have 8 mana, he's going to have 6 mana either way, so anything, well, I guess if he draws a, the Wind Fury, what is it called?
Alakir?
Alakir, I guess he can play that turn now, but,
yeah.
Or next turn if he does draw it, but.
It looks like he's going with the 3 damage backstab, probably follow up, with a Edwin Van Cleef, and looks like Alesha's got all the answers here, though. He's got that second Earth Shock Tice probably isn't expecting to take care of that Van Cleef. He's got to get a Spell Power Totem here to...
Yeah, Spell Power Totem would be huge right now. You'd be able to clear both the Edwin and the Blood Mage with the Earth Shock and Lava Burst.
Indeed, turns that Lava Burst into an Edwin Van Cleef killer. So, Feral Spears, I feel it's one of the more important cards in this matchup. It really stymies the Leroy combo. But Tice does have both saps. He's going to want to save these saps, I would think, for when he wants to play out that combo, though. Although he does
Yeah,
just
he does have 9 mana this turn, so he can play the Gadgetzin in both saps if he likes to do that. I mean, there aren't. I guess the best sap targets in a Shaman deck are obviously the Fire Elementals.
yeah, which Alesh is only running one of, like we mentioned earlier too.
Right. I wonder if Tice knows that.
Yeah, it's kind of. I mean, again, that's part of the reason why he's only running one. It's really kind of from a tempo perspective, it's a very slow card. Whereas that Argent Commander that he's running the 2 copies of is a much faster card. Lets you establish board presence much more quickly. So
Yeah, well, the way I see the Fire Elemental is pretty much a 6/5 body with another
yeah, with another
three
spell attached
three
to
one
it.
charger that comes out as well, kind of that goes by taunts. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
that's just the way I look at the card.
Yeah, no, I mean that's essentially what it is. It's got another spell attached to it. That's why it's so powerful. It's almost always a 2-for-1.
Right.
He's got all the feral spirits here, but notably saving that one feral spirit. You don't want to throw everything out there and get hit by a nasty blade flurry. And,
So he does Lava Burst the Gadgetzin, the only way he can take
Indeed.
care of it. So
no more
down
action
goes
here.
both
Gotta get rid of that.
Gadgetzins,
And it is notable. Tice has drawn the Shadow Step along with his Leroy. Conceal's not going to be doing a whole lot here, really, with both the Gadgetzins gone. But there's that second Shadow Step, so it's only a matter of time here before Tice only needs to do an additional 8 damage. So a Cold Blood off the top gives him lethal, but
Eviscerate. Yep.
yeah, but Eviscerate, Cold Blood. Does he have? He's at 10 mana, so he's got plenty of mana if he draws the Eviscerate. But really, Alesh really has to put him on having the perfect hand to have lethal here.
Oh, there's the Cold Blood.
There's the Cold Blood. So this game's over.
Lethal, right?
Yeah, no, this is over.
24. Yep, that's lethal right there. 27 damage.
Yeah, so I mean,
Wow.
I would say probably pretty hard for Alesh to put him on having Leroy double Shadow Step Cold Blood in this situation, considering that Tice has only been through, it looks like, about half his deck, maybe a little bit, slightly more than half his deck, but you really can't expect him to have the full Monty here at this point. But
Absolutely,
he's got it.
Tice takes game 1 in a pretty convincing fashion there.
So quite the game there, Miracle Rogue kind of showing what it does there.
Yeah, absolutely. He drew both Gadgetzins. You know, even as a Shaman, is something hard to beat for sure.
Yeah, no, he drew everything. He had both Gadgetzins, he had both Shadow Steps, he had the Leroy. But didn't even have to draw his whole deck that game to get to the combos. So
right, it felt like Alesh, burned through his hands so quickly that game they just ran out of ways to react to the
yeah, he was kind of on the back foot that entire game. Really had to answer Tice's threats, vices, establishing any sort of board presence and pushing damage, which is really how you need to win with Shaman, is to really establish that early game and then capitalize upon that and use removal to keep your minions alive and remove your opponent's minions, kind of preventing any sort of combo potential from the rogue's perspective.
Yeah, usually the only way you beat the Miracle Rogue is by being the aggressor, not the defensive one.
Exactly.
So, all right, well, let's take a look at the game 2 decks here. Looks like Alesh is going to be going Zoo. What do you think about that?
I think it's a little risky. I mean, obviously, Tice is still on Miracle Rogue. Zoo is, I mean, traditionally, it's a pretty poor matchup against Miracle Rogue. Rogue in general, their removal suite is astonishingly powerful against Zoo's threats. Although Zoo gets a particularly powerful start and the Miracle Rogue gets a particularly bad hand, Zoo can run over Miracle Rogue. But at the same time, I don't know if this is the deck you want to be pulling to beat Tice on Miracle Rogue.
Yeah, I agree. Miracle Rogue's definitely a tempo deck, and it has such cheap removals like Backstab and the deadly poisons that can just clear minions left and right. But it looks like Alesh has a lot of Divine Shields, so maybe that'll help him out a little bit in this matchup.
Yeah, the Divine Shield's definitely a big deal. I mean, the Blood Knight, if Tice doesn't get the sap, could be fairly punishing. The shield bearers will help stave off the combo potentially.
Yeah, shield bearers are one of the most annoying cards to play against as a Miracle Rogue, that's for sure.
Yeah, it looks like Alesh definitely likes his Argent Commanders too, opting to play a single Argent Commander in the Zoo deck. That's kind of a card that gets overlooked pretty often, I would say, in more recent Zoo builds.
Yeah. And he's playing the Blood Knight as well. That could be... Well, Tice does play 2 sap, so even if he makes a big Blood Knight, it probably won't do too much. But...
Yeah, like kind of what I mentioned earlier, like Blood Knight could steal the game, but it also could just get sapped, and you've invested a lot of tempo and mana into a wonderful sap target. I just noticed he's running that single Iron Beak Owl as well. What do you think about that guy?
Well, it's definitely not going to do much in this matchup, unless... Oh, I guess it could take care of a Van Cleef if it gets out of hand, but other than that, I don't see it doing much in this matchup.
Yeah, I know when I play Miracle Rogue on the ladder, running in all those Zoo decks, almost the primary line of play I go for often is to make a giant Van Cleef, because I'm like, Zoo never, like Iron Beak Owl's not that popular, particularly in ladder builds of Zoo, and you just make that 10-10 Van Cleef and the game's over.
Right, it's usually game over right there.
Exactly, like 2 or 3 turns.
Maybe that's why the Iron Beak's in there then. Let's jump into the game and see how it goes.
Yeah, let's see if Tice can win another one in decisive fashion. Alright, so again we got Tice here on Miracle Rogue again. Opti looks like he's going to just keep the one Earthen Ring Farseer, throw everything else back. What do you think he thinks Alesh is playing here? Because obviously he's not privy to the knowledge we are. He doesn't necessarily know he's on Zoo.
You know, if I was in Tice's spot right now, I'd be thinking he was playing Handlock. I'd be really surprised when the Sergeant Squire comes out on turn 1.
There's a surprise right there.
Well,
I'm sure. I mean, I would definitely be thinking Handlock too. Handlock's a pretty common counter to Miracle Rogue and a pretty popular deck aside as well. So, and it looks like Tice just choosing to skip the turn there.
Right, he's probably going to go with the coin SI next turn. Looks to be the play.
Yeah, which is usually one of the strongest plays against Zoo, but in this situation, it's not.
Yeah.
Not that strong. There's no. Usually they have the Knife Juggler, even if he had played that Young Priestess, or any other 3/2 minion.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised here to see a Prep Shiv coin agent, but he just selects the dagger up here.
Yeah, I don't know if prep. I don't know if prep's really where you want to be this early in the game, but you do need to use your removal reasonably aggressively against the Zoo deck just to ensure that they don't get too much of a head start on you, because really one of the only ways Zoo wins this matchup is to really get that momentum in the early game.
Oh wow, and it buffs the Mani, so that's going to be a pain in the you know what.
So I mean that does take it out of range of the Shiv combined with the SI7 agent. Cold Blood's not doing anything here. He could coin into the Inventor to give him a little bit of board presence, and to obviously needs to kill this Young Priestess here. He could opt to Shiv the Young Priestess. He could, so if he coins up to the 4 mana, plays the SI7 agent, really he's just throwing away the coin if he wants to use the SI7 agent here.
Right, I think this is the turn that you're going to have to prep. The board's going to get way too out of control. You don't have any AoEs in your hand. Beezus might just go for the Earthen Ring Farseer. I'm fine with that as well.
Yeah, honestly, I kind of like this play, because I mean, I'm not as excited as you seem to be about using the prep this early. I really kind of like this I mean, sometimes you have to use the prep, but I don't think we're quite at that point where you have to use that prep.
Right, that's just the different play styles coming out, I suppose. Maybe I'm more of an aggressive player.
So yeah, this is definitely lost a Young Priestess, but
it's gonna hurt.
Yeah, it is what it is. He gets to keep that Argent Commander. I probably would have preferred to lose that Iron Beak. Now this is a really tough board position now. I mean, so he doesn't really have access to deadly. If he uses the deadly poison, he can't really play much of anything else this turn.
Yeah, now thinking about it, there was no reason to use prep last turn. He just cleared up a 2/1 with the weapon anyways. So.
Yeah, so he could coin into Drake here. He could just play the Inventor. The problem with playing either of those cards is you do establish some board control, but you're taking 7 damage next turn, and then I mean, pretty soon that Argent Commander is going to be getting aggressive as well. What do you think you do here?
I'm not really seeing any good plays.
So you,
I mean, I'm still looking at that prep.
yeah,
Maybe something like dagger up, prep, deadly poison, coin SI agent to clear the 3/5. Could be something to think about.
possibly.
It looks like he's gonna do that. Yeah, and definitely swing at the 3/5 first.
Indeed. Yeah, that's probably definitely the best play. He could have opted to kill the 2/2 and leave the 3/5 alone, but
on turn 2, he could have cleared that minion a long time ago. He would have saved himself a lot of health.
it is true. So yeah, so it looks like he draws an Argent Squire, then life taps into a Flame Impure. So yeah, definitely just throw those 2 out.
Yeah, Tice definitely needs a Blade Flurry here to have a chance, I think.
Yeah, Blade Flurry is definitely one of the best cards in this matchup for the rogue player, one of the cards you really want to see.
Okay, so we gotta get...
Auctioneer not really doing pretty much just a worse Azure Drake in this situation. So,
yeah, I think he just has to throw out the Drake here and...
Yeah, I mean that Shiv isn't... I don't think that Shiv's really doing much here. So
not at all.
He probably wants to kill the 2/2 and the 2/3, or the 2/2 and the 3/2, but he's still taking 3, and then unbeknownst to Tice, probably an additional 4 after. That's 7 damage.
Yeah, and it's going to be bad though because he is not going to have that. Ooh, so he goes with the Shiv. It looks like he's really searching for the Blade Flurry. Backstab's a great card to draw.
Yeah, Backstab's definitely solid here. So obviously Backstab the 3/2, and then I would definitely take out the 2/2 and the 2/3 here. It doesn't really matter which way you do it. It's going to be the same.
Yeah, but he is getting down really low on health. He's already at 12 and doesn't have either of his Earthen Rings in his hand yet. So
he is getting that point, close to that point where you can kind of turn the game around though. But
yeah, but when this Argent Commander comes down, it's going to be really tough.
Indeed. And Tice really doesn't have access to any more removal.
Fan of Knives, that doesn't quite do it.
Yeah, it's not the worst draw here, but definitely not the best draw. So you could Fan of Knives, but then he doesn't have a follow-up to get rid of the 4/2. So it looks like he opts to just play the Azure Drake.
Yeah, he's hoping for a prep here, I think. Then he can kill it off with the dagger and the prep Fan of Knives, but he doesn't get it.
Looks like this game might be over fast though. There's any number of cards that Alesh can top deck here to take this game. Looks like he doesn't top deck anything, but he's definitely got the board to survive a turn and deal that lethal damage on the following turn.
So he is going to get a pretty nice Fan of Knives off here, but I don't think it's going to be an... Actually, is that a... that is going to be a board clear, I believe.
Yeah, it's a 2 damage Fan of Knives, which is going to pop the shield, kill the wolf, deal damage to the 2 taunts, and then he can drop the SI7, the SI7 agent to finish off the Argent Commander, and then use the Drake to kill the Voidwalker. No, that doesn't have enough mana for Shiv. We really need to play that SI7 agent here. So, although he could Shiv instead of playing the SI7 agent, but I don't think you want to be. I definitely don't. Well, it doesn't really matter if you take 1 damage here, does it? Because really,
3 and 2 are about the same. I mean, I don't think Alesh is running Blue Guild Chargers, so.
Yeah, really 4 damage being that 4 and 5 damage being that point where you're either getting killed by a Soulfire or a.
He's really putting in a lot of thought to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is what I would go to. You're going to be killing that Shield Bearer with the dagger next turn anyway. So, and there's a Soulfire. So.
Up next Soulfire. That's game.
Yeah, I mean, this is just kind of what you expect from Zoo sometimes. Sometimes you just get those hands and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, Tice just got a lot of his expensive creatures, and there's really nothing he could have done that game.
Well, it looks like Alesh comes back there to avenge the loss of his Shaman deck.
He ties it up 1-1.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal there. Sometimes Zoo just be Zoo, I guess.
Yeah, sometimes there's nothing you can do. It seemed like he curved out really well, and Tice just drew all of his expensive creatures, like I mentioned. But
Yeah, he didn't get the Blade Flurry that you mentioned either. Like, that Blade Flurry is really key card in that matchup. A lot of
right,
times,
right.
Miracle Rogue only running one copy.
And the sulfur at the end, when Tice was just equalizing the board, I guess you could say, the top deck sulfur just did him in. It's game over.
Yeah, I can really sympathize with Tice there. I mean, I'm sure we've all been in that situation, sitting behind the computer screen, wondering if that zoo opponent's going to life tap into the Doom Guard or the Soulfire. Just the
Right.
whole waiting with bated breath. So
So game three, it looks like Tice is gonna go with an OTK
yeah,
shaman.
so much
Wind Fury.
OTK. So he's running the Leroy Wind Fury combo. So
Yeah, I'm excited for this.
yeah,
I think I'm not sure what his other decks are, but I don't think this is the best choice against Zoo. It just seems like there's a lot of dead cards in the deck, like the Wind Fury, or at least a couple dead cards, like the Wind Fury and the Leroy, that he's just not going to be able to use.
yeah. I mean, those really against Zoo, you're looking for a consistent deck like Rogue, which I mean, it's unfortunate that went that way for Tice because it's a really strong deck generally against Zoo. But usually you're not looking to have cards like exactly the ones you mentioned, like Wind Fury and Leroy, kind of these very dead cards that are just make the deck kind of inconsistent. I mean,
Right.
Shaman,
But Shaman does have a lot of cheap removals, like the
yeah,
Lightning Bolts and the Rock Biters, so
they do have really strong removal, but then you got like Manatide in this deck as well. You got like
yeah.
Alec here's not going to be really doing anything. Even like Chill and Yeti and Azure Drake, they're okay against Zoo, but they're just a little higher on the curve than you really want to be against the Zoo deck. So, and again, as with many matchups with Shaman, it kind of comes down to just how many of those Feral Spears do you draw to stem the tide. And then Lightning Storm as well being very strong against Zoo.
Right, I'm excited for this matchup. It's been a while since I've seen a Leroy Wind Fury deck, so we'll see if he's going to be able to pull off something sweet with that.
Yeah, let's see if Tice can continue to try and defend his title here. One to one. So it looks like Alesh has a really strong curve here with his Zoo deck. I would probably throw back the 4-drop and the 3-drop here.
Yeah, you just want to look for 2/1 drops, I think, with the coin, especially having a 2-drop. You just
Yeah.
want to put as much board presence as possible in the first
It looks like
few turns of the game.
It looks like Tice actually has a really strong hand, knowing he's up against a Zoo opponent, keeps his entire hand. He's got the 1-mana removal spell. He's got Unbound Elemental, which is a strong early minion that trades especially well with the Zoo minions. And he's got that Lightning Storm, a crucial card in this matchup.
Absolutely. So it looks like he's just going to use the Rock Biter on the Voidwalker. Can't blame him for that, but he is floating the mana there, which isn't something you want to do against Zoo.
I mean, it's. I think it's fine in this situation.
Yeah.
I mean, you use what you got. I mean, he is opting to remove that Voidwalker versus using the hero power, and then Monty Berserker comes down.
Yep, so it looks like just Unbound's going to come out to contest that.
Yeah, definitely the
But-
best play on that situation.
But he has the coin Dark Iron Dwarf in his hand.
Yeah, which is going to be a brutal turn of events for this Unbound Elemental, allowing the not only for the Amati Berserker to trade for the Unbound Elemental, but serve as a significant threat on the following turn.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Tice has a good answer to this board right now.
Yeah.
He does have Blood Mage Lightning Storm next turn, but
Yeah, he can't really play the Yeti here as it just dies to the 5/1 Amani Berserker, allowing his 2-drop to trade for a 3-drop and a 4-drop. So yeah, I think really hero power is the only thing you can do here. You can and then either play a Flame Tongue Totem or a Blood Mage.
he does get the Taunt Totem, which is pretty good against this board because it's protecting 4 damage at the very least.
Yeah, I
And
would
he
say,
does elect to play the Flame Tongue there, which is pretty interesting.
yeah, I mean it does force him to take some damage here, make his Lightning Storm a little bit better next turn. So if Alesh runs a 4/4 into that 2/2, and then Tice Lightning Storms on the following turn and guarantees that
absolutely.
Dark Iron Dwarf dies. So I would say it's a pretty good play on Tice's part, especially considering that
He has
The
2
sec-
Flame Tongues in his hand.
yeah, the second one's really not going to have a lot of value against the Zoo deck.
So he taps here.
He taps it, and he opts to play the 2/1 drops here. With the 0/4 reasonably protected against the. That's
wow.
an interesting play there.
So he
So
definitely knows Lightning Storm's a card to watch out for when you're playing against Shamans. So he's really playing around that this turn by making that attack.
Yeah, I think I like playing the Yeti here. It looks like he doesn't play the Yeti here. I feel like the Yeti trades reasonably well against this board, although Alesh would have the Defender of Argus to buff up his Dark Iron Dwarf. So he establishes a pretty strong board with the Feral Spirits and a second Flame Tongue Totem. But what do you think Alesh's best play is here?
Oh well, he drew the Soulfire. That's pretty huge. It's gonna save his Dark Iron Dwarf from dying here.
Yeah, he can use that to take out the second pesky Flame Tongue Totem.
Well, yeah, he's gonna use it on one of the wolves and then just trade into the Flame Tongue with the Dark Iron. But yeah, so that was lucky right there by Alesh to top deck that Soulfire.
Yeah, I mean he's had a pretty brutal curve this entire game though.
Yeah, and overloading from last turn, well, I guess this wouldn't be the best Lightning Storm board with the Blood Mage, but it's definitely something that he's thinking about in the next couple turns.
Yeah. I mean, next turn if he gets lucky and gets the spell damage totem, he could play out both the Blood Mage, the spell damage totem, and the Lightning Storm. But he does have that Fire Elemental, which could be a really strong play next turn.
Yep, so he takes out the Chillwind Yeti with ease with the Dark Iron Dwarf, and gets a buff on the Direwolf Alpha there.
So yeah, it looks like with the Lightning Bolt and the Fire Elemental, he can easily take out the more relevant minions on the board here.
Yeah, so this puts out a lot more board pressure than the Thalanos Lightning Storm here. So I think I agree with this play over the Blood Mage Lightning Storm.
Indeed. So here you've got both Doomguard and Argent Commander serve a lot of the same purposes. So probably throwing that Soulfire out for some value first is a good move. Yeah, which is what he does.
Discards the Doomguard.
Discards the Doomguard. I'm sure he would have preferred to play the Doomguard over the Argent Commander, but playing the Argent Commander is still a fine play here. And Thijs has no real way to remove that Argent Commander.
Yeah, he'd have to blow his whole hand on it, but
yeah, obviously that's not worth doing. That Lightning Storm's going to have significant value later in the game, and you're not going to just throw the Lightning Bolt at it. So you can.
It does get the Taunt Totem. That's good.
Yeah,
it's 4 damage.
He's Thijs is rolling those top totems hard here this game. So Argent Squire and Scarlet Crusader don't really do anything to progress the board immediately, but they do give him a board that's very much immune to that Lightning Storm. Ooh,
Absolutely.
he gets the Hex. I think you got a Hex to the 4/2 in this situation here.
Yeah, I agree with that. Probably gonna see Totem, see what he rolls.
Yeah.
Now he gets the Spell Totem, so it seems like he's rolling the perfect totems every time he rolls them.
Yeah, no, Thijs's totems are definitely on his side. The elements are guiding him for sure.
So yeah, that's gonna clear the Shield Bearers 100% there, and he's gonna be able to trade into the 3/1. So that's a pretty strong clear there.
Indeed, believe in that 1/1, but I mean, ain't nobody worried about a 1/1 unless he's got a Defender of Argus or some powerful follow-up. Well, that Direwolf will do some work to make that. Oh, that was some pretty sick top decks and. On both these players' parts, yeah. The Doomguard obviously being pretty much the best possible top deck in this situation.
Ooh. Alakir.
And we continue with the beats here. So if we play, I don't know if you play Alakir quite yet. If you play him now, he could take out the Wolf and go to the face for 3, or you could do 3 to the Doomguard and then take out the Wolf, and then he lives with 3. But that's not that great. You could, I mean, I think you have to just roll totem like this. With the Spellfire totem, you could Lightning Bolt the Doomguard and set it up for being killed by the Alakir in the following turn. You do need to be thinking about lethal with the kind of hand that Thijs has right now.
Yeah, how much damage does he have? He has 12, 13, 14, 15 damage without the spell.
Yeah, he's got 15 on the next turn. So if Alesh life taps, then he's a little bit of a bind there. And I don't know if Alesh is going to be thinking about 15 damage
with only
from
3
Thijs.
cards in hand, it's really hard to see something like this coming.
Yeah. So I mean,
Dark Iron Dwarf.
If
he does tap.
Oh, that is not
He's
getting.
2 off of lethal here. Wow. So it looks like Tice is actually going to take this game.
Yeah. And I mean, if I was Alesh, I'd be feeling great about this game right now. But
Yeah, it's like,
little,
how do I lose? I have 15 HP. My opponent only has 3 cards in his hand. He can't have the perfect hand, can he?
he sure can.
Wow.
And here,
Amazing.
here's Tice with the threaded here, a little friendly BMing. Lesh recognizing that he has been defeated by Tice here. So, exceptional game there. Alright, so, wow, 15 damage out of nowhere against a Zoo deck with Shaman.
Yeah, he really pulled that win out of nowhere. It felt like he was 1 step behind the Zoo the entire game, but at the end, he just top decked the Alakir at the perfect time.
Yeah.
Finished the game with it.
The whole game felt like deja vu from the Miracle Road game, where it's just the Zoo had a perfect curve and was just going to steamroll him. But yeah, that Alakir at the perfect time. And I mean, Lesh probably wasn't even thinking about the life tab. Like, I mean, I as a Zoo player, you feel pretty comfortable at 15, 17 health. It's like, what, you want to life tap into threats? I mean, it was a little greedy. I mean, you probably didn't need the life tap in that situation. He had plenty of damage on board.
Yeah, but another thing to think about, Tice did use that Rock Biter on turn 2, so maybe Alesh was thinking about that. And what are the odds that he has the other one with Alakir and the Lightning Bolt? You know,
yeah,
it's unfortunate.
That is true, and I mean, Alesh probably doesn't. This obviously wasn't relevant to the last game, but I don't think Alesh knows that Tice is playing a Wind Fury Leroy deck yet.
I don't think so either, which is actually pretty good against Miracle Rogue.
Yeah, which is what Alesh has opted to play Miracle Rogue here against Tice's Shaman deck, which I mean, I would we talked about this a little bit earlier, but I mean, I would definitely give this to the Miracle Rogue in most cases.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I mean, if Tice draws a perfect hand, you know, he could do a lot of damage with that Leroy Wind Fury, but he really needs those combo pieces to pull it off.
Indeed, and it looks like Alesh is playing Zixo's list that Zixo got legendary with this season, and so he's got the double fan of knives. He's got that Gnomish Inventor, and then the 0 Cold Bloods. So, what do you think about running 0 Cold Bloods in Miracle Rogue?
I've been toying around with that a little bit. I go both ways. In certain matchups, like Warrior, it's better to have the Cold Blood, but against Shaman, I don't feel like it's needed. I don't really know which version I like better yet, but
yeah, I know I tend to like the Cold Blood, but you're definitely right against Shaman. They're not gaining any health. They don't have armor up as a hero power, nothing along those lines. So, I mean, obviously, Alesh probably didn't build this deck, or I mean, obviously he didn't build this deck. It's Six's list, but this list probably wasn't built with Shaman in mind specifically, but it just does happen to play favorably in this particular matchup. So,
right.
I think the Fan of Knives could be a big deal too. If you get the spell power alongside that, you are running the Blood Mage, and both these Zordrakes can really do some work clearing some of Shaman's totems, particularly any top totems, and pushing you towards clearing this crucial Feral Spirits that he may play.
Yeah, this should be a good game. Let's go ahead and jump into it and see how it stacks up here.
Yeah, let's see if Alesh can tie it up here against Tice in this game. All right, we're off. Game 4. Miracle
Tice
Rogue
up
versus
2-1.
Shaman.
Let's see if Alesh can tie it up with the Miracle Rogue here.
So what do you think about keeping Backstab or Gnomish Inventor? I mean, obviously I think you throw back the prep, but what about Backstab and Inventor here?
I think you definitely keep the Backstab because, you know, the 4 health, the 3 drop.
The Unbound Elemental?
The Unbound Elemental. You want the Backstab and the SI Agent. It's usually the best way to take care of that.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's got the SI Agent. He's got Leroy, which is a little bit awkward in the opening hand, but Tice has Wind Fury, which is also a reasonably awkward card. Tice has got that Manatide Totem, though, which I think could be a, well, it could be a factor, except for the fact that Alesh does have that backstab, and alongside his hero power, will be able to take care of that Mana Tide Totem.
Yeah, I think he's just gonna hold on to that Blood Mage to try to get a Lightning Storm out on a concealed Gadgetzan if it happens to happen in the future.
Indeed. It looks like he's thinking about coining out the Mana Tide Totem here, so he's gonna get that. He's gonna get that draw, but I mean, I don't know if that was in this particular situation. I don't know if it was worth the coin. I think, but I mean, I think Backstab's really the only card here that really bites him for using the coin.
Yeah, Deadly Poison does as well, but I feel like Theis is lacking so many. He has like nearly no creatures here, and I think the only way you can really beat the Miracle Rogue with Shaman is by loading the board with creatures.
Yeah, we kind of talked about that in the first game when the roles were reversed. Really, there's that Unbound Elemental, but really Shaman's best way to win this matchup is to play the aggressor, and then while you're the aggressor, use your removal to kind of pick off those Auctioneers and other crucial minions. What do you think about opting not to play the Unbound Elemental here?
I agree with that, because generally speaking against Miracle Rogue, you want to play the Unbound Elemental the same turn that you also play Overload card to increase itself to 4.
Yeah, that way it doesn't. That way it doesn't die straight up to say an Eviscerate or something.
Absolutely.
So do you think you play the Yeti here? I feel like that's I feel like it's pretty clear play. He could play the Unbound and the Lightning Bolt, but the Lightning Bolt doesn't have any fantastic targets, not being able to trade for the 2/4 on its own.
Theis does have the Wind Fairy and the Rock Biter. All he's missing here is the Leroy.
Ooh.
Could see some see some big plays happening in the future here.
Yeah, usually if you've got 2/3 of the combo, it's not that third piece usually isn't too far behind.
Yeah.
So what do you think Alesh's best options here? It looks like he's considering the sap on the Yeti. It seems like an okay play. I don't think he's got any way to deal with the Yeti per se.
He could backstab SI it,
He doesn't have backstab. He's only got Shiv right now.
Shiv SI.
I mean,
but then he would have to trade in his Gnomish Inventor to do that.
Yeah.
So.
Which is alright. I mean, that could be worth getting rid of the Yeti, though. I mean, you put a 3/3 on the board, you trade your 2/4, you draw a card.
Yeah, generally speaking, Yeti is a really good sap target, so
yeah.
I think he's going to end up sapping it and SI agenting the totem here.
The totem, yeah. That way, if he replays the Yeti, you've got the 3/3 and the 2/4 that can trade with it if you have to. You could play the Blood Mage and the Shiv and then use the 3/3. Well, it looks like he's going to use the Earthen Ring. I think I like playing the Earthen Ring instead of the SI7 agent. Because I don't feel health is going to be the most crucial of things in this match. Like it's not as crucial for the Rogue as it is, say, for the Shaman.
That is true. But I just like pushing damage because Shamans generally don't run any heal, and every damage is a damage they'll never get back.
Yeah, but knowing he has that Yeti in his hand, I think saving that 2 damage from the SI7 agent gives you more options for removing on the future. Oh, snap. And it looks like he gets
he rolls the 50-50 there. Yeah, that's huge.
He gets the extra damage on that Inventor to go. Alesh not too happy with that one. Theis, kind of a little bit of a backhand apology there.
Well, a good thing for Alesh, he has a lot of... Oh, he did draw the Gadgetzan. That's what I was just about to get at. He needed the card draw to draw into that Gadgetzan.
Yeah, so that's good for him. He's got Gadgetzan and Shadow Step Leroy, so I'm sure that Gadgetzan will very quickly draw him into the remaining pieces of the combo. And
yep, so we're probably going to... Oh, he's actually overloaded for 2 years, so he can't play the Fire Elemental. Yep, just like I mentioned earlier, he wants to play that Unbound the same turn as he plays an Overload, and it's going to be pretty hard for... It doesn't look like the Miracle Rogue's going to be able to deal with it this turn.
Yeah, Alesh doesn't have any ways to deal with it. It doesn't even have any ways to really take advantage of the Auctioneers in his hand. Obviously, you don't really want to blow the Shadow Step on the... you don't want to like play Auctioneer and then Shadow Step and then draw a card and save your Auctioneer. You got 2 Auctioneers. You don't really care about losing the first. You definitely want to be saving that Shadow Step for Leroy. So
yeah, for sure.
So kind of a very unexciting turn for Alesh. He does have the sap next turn to work alongside his Auctioneers to draw cards, but Theis drawing that Feral Spirit here. But yeah, Fire Elemental is definitely the play here. You don't as it usually is. If you have Fire Elemental and 6 mana, he has the Blood Mage to target. So what do you do here? You got 8 mana, you got an Auctioneer in your hand, but you also have access to a Zerdrake. I think I kind of like to play Alesh.
Yeah,
It looks like he's doing
it's one of the best sap targets in the deck, so
Yeah.
might as well just get it out there. And also having another gadget in your hand, you don't have to really worry about this one dying. So.
Indeed. It looks like he drew his Edwin, which
Oh, he drew into a deadly poison with the draw off the sap. So that
wow,
was a
that's
huge top deck
yeah,
there.
that's a perfect draw. I mean, Tice still has the answer to the. Ooh,
There's the Leroy.
There's Leroy. So we got 18 damage. He only needs to do 6 more damage. I mean, if I'm Tice in this situation, I know Alesh is running 0 taunts. Or well, I expect he's running 0 taunts. I think I'm trying to do 4. I think I'm trying to do 6 damage to the face in this situation. The Leroy combo costs 7 mana. You got access to that next turn. What can you do? You can play the Fire Elemental does 3, but you're looking for 3 more damage after that. So
I think he's just gonna play the Hex and the Feral Spirit and the Flame Tongue here.
yeah, I mean, I think that's a fine play. I mean, that does set you up. That gives you exactly 7 mana next turn. And if he isn't able to clear those Feral Spirits, it sets you up for lethal in the following turn.
Then again, let me see. Leroy. He could play Leroy, Flame Tongue, Wind Fury, and Rockbiter next turn. How much damage would that be? It'd be 8. That'd be 22 damage next turn alone.
So maybe you just, yeah, I mean, again, it's unlikely Alesh is going to play any taunts. I think that's the play, actually. I think it's better than,
you can't really play the Frail Spirit because that would overload you. I wouldn't even be totally against Fire Elemental in his face and just hope that...
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. Yeah, if you just Fire Elemental in the face and then you do 22 next turn, odds are... I can't expect... I mean, we do have the privilege of knowing that Alesh doesn't have lethal, but he is awful close to lethal, so... with having top deck the second Shadow Step and already having the Leroy as well. But, so it looks like...
Ooh, he top decked the second Hex there. That was... But the Rogue's board is getting scary, though. He has 10 damage on the board. I'm sure he's going to Hex the Edwin here.
Yeah, I mean, all he needs is for one of his 2 minions to survive and then top deck and eviscerate, and this game's over. So, yeah, I mean, this could really go either way here.
How's he going to get past those taunts, though? So he does play the Feral Spirit here.
Yeah, so, I mean, he's still got the 18 damage here, so... If Alesh doesn't have a way to deal, it looks like Tice is going to take this one, unless he can have a crazy Auctioneer turn here. So if he kills both the taunts of his 2 minions here, or if he Hero Powers, plays Deadly Poison, kills 1. Yeah, I'm not seeing any way for Alesh to clear the board here, and if he doesn't clear the board. Leroy's getting in for 18 damage next turn, or well, he's gonna
22 actually.
Well, yeah. No, he's overloaded for 2 next turn, so he's gonna have access to 8 mana, so not quite enough for 22.
Okay, yep. So I think he
draws a prep, which is definitely helps aid him in drawing towards a potential way to clear. So still no answer, no way to clear here. He is going to get to draw 2 cards and take out.
He does draw the Earthen Ring. He doesn't have enough mana to play it now, but.
Oh, he gets an Eviscerate, so he can take out the. But I mean, he unless he draws a prep into a Shiv, I don't think we got an answer here.
I don't think Tice has enough damage next turn, though. I only see.
True, yeah. I mean, I guess he did remove enough to allow him to clear the board, and I mean, Alesh's got now the roles have been reversed now.
Yeah, the Rogue has an extremely strong board and he has the Leroy double Shadow Step in hand. This could go really bad for Tice if he doesn't. Even taunting here might not be enough.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. So if he plays Hex, Hero Power, Defender, he doesn't quite have enough mana for that. If he goes Fire, I can't really go Fire Elemental. I mean, Alesh has 14 damage on board right now. So, I mean, Tyson knows he's in a really tight spot here.
Yeah, wow, just when we thought Tyson was going to take the game.
Yeah. No,
It's not looking good now. That
oh,
overload really hurt him.
yeah, Alesh drew just enough, and Tice needing just one more mana here. I'm sure he's ooh, I mean, well, I mean, I guess when all the plays don't win you the game, none of them are really good plays. So and Tice
Yep, so it looks like
recognizes
Alesh is
that.
gonna take this game. Wow.
Yeah, d-
Tice drew
no,
the perfect cards, we just didn't have enough time to play him.
indeed. Alesh
Yep,
got
Leroy Shadow Step.
Alesh got that perfect combination of removal there to make sure that Tice didn't have the ability to go for lethal. Although, I mean, Alesh does not know the combo that Tice was running in this deck, as far as
Yeah, and
we
he
know.
won't know until he watches now.
Indeed. So, pretty intense game there. I mean, it looked like Tice was going to have it there for a while, and then Alesh had that perfect comeback there, getting the Eviscerate and the Shiv right as he needed it in order to clear Tice's board and follow it up with the dreaded Leroy combo.
Yeah, that was an extremely close game. Like you mentioned, Alesh has no idea how close he came to his death there.
Yeah,
But
with still like Leroy never making his presence felt in any of
yep.
those games that Tice has played the Shaman deck.
And nonetheless, Alesh ties the series up 2-2, and looks like he's gonna be. Oh, I'm sorry. It looks like Tice is gonna be pulling out the handlock here, which is
Yeah, pretty common counter to Miracle Rogue. Although, I mean, Miracle Rogue still has a reasonable game against Handlock, but if Handlock gets its turn 4 Mountain Giant, turn 5 Mountain Giant start, it can be really difficult for Rogue to really do anything against that. And one thing of note in that regard is that Tice is playing a double Faceless Manipulator build, and the
and none of
second
the 9 drops.
yeah, none of the 9 drops, which is it's been fairly common for the Lord Jaraxxus and Alexstrasza to be removed from Handlock, as with decks like Miracle Rogue doing burst of 18 plus often, resetting to 15 health really isn't that relevant, as it doesn't get you out of burst range at all. But that second faceless, one faceless is pretty common in Handlock. That second just gives you that many more opportunities to have a turn 4 Mountain Giant, turn 5 faceless on your Mountain
Right.
Giant.
This is very similar to the handlock I've been running, and I'm liking it without the 9 drops. I feel like they're a little too clunky, especially against the Miracle Rogue. It's unneeded.
Yeah, same here. I think a primary difference in the build we've been running on at DKMR is just at least I typically run one less owl in my build. I'm not a huge fan of the double Iron Beak owls. I find there's not a lot of situations where I really need the owl. It's often just kind of a supplement to the rest of the removal suite I have.
Yeah,
in
the only
Handlock
difference
deck.
between his deck and the deck I've been running is -1 Owl, -1 Big Game Hunter, and I threw in a Blood Mage Thalnos and a Shadow Bolt. So that's the only 2 differences. So it's very similar to
Yeah,
mine.
and I think one thing to note is he's got the double Shadow Flame in this build. Shadow Flame being the double Shadow Flame getting popular with Miracle Rogue being popular, since you can use the Shadow Flame to kill a stealthed Auctioneer much more effectively
Yep.
than, say, Hellfire will.
So who do you think's gonna take this game?
I mean, I'm leaning towards Tice. I mean,
I am too.
I
Yep.
feel like I've been picking Tice in a lot of these, and Alesh has been staying toe to toe with him. So who knows? Miracle Rogue. I mean, while it is slightly favorable for Handlock, Miracle Rogue could definitely still win the game. I mean,
Yeah, sometimes Handlock just doesn't draw those 4 drops, and
yeah,
it could just snowball downhill from there.
yeah. I mean, Alesh is running both saps, and while two sap is kind of the go-to in Miracle Rogue, there are some builds that do just run the one, but he does have both saps, so he is safe in that regard. That being one of the better cards against Handlock. Blade Flurry is also usually I find to be a really key card. Trying to build up that kind of spell power, deadly poison Blade Flurry, I find is usually pretty important to getting through, say, the Ancient Watchers, or dealing some of that damage to the Giants to allow them to get into Eviscerate and like SA7 agent range.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's jump into the game. See if Tice can win this game back, and
Yeah,
see who takes the lead in this series.
yeah. Let's see if Tice has got what it takes to defend his title here. Right, so game 5. So if you're in so Tice here, yeah, you mulligan that whole hand. You really need threats against Miracle Rogue. What about for Alesh? This is a much more difficult situation than the decision than the handlock, I would say.
So from his perspective, it looks like he's assuming it is handlock, or he'd definitely keep the backstab and the SI. I find that backstab is good against both of the warlocks, so I'd be surprised if he doesn't keep that.
Yeah, I mean, Backstab's definitely a solid card. Gives you kind of that extra damage to deal with the Giants. Also combos really well with the SI7 agent, although he does have the coin. Eviscerate, I think, is definitely a stronger pickup than the Backstab here, since this is handlock. I think it is interesting that Alesh definitely seems to have assumed that he's playing against handlock, whereas we saw earlier with Tice going up against Alesh's Zoo deck.
Yeah, so it looks like Tice has 2 of his 4-drops here, at least the Drake and one of the Giants, so this might be a hard game for the Miracle Rogue to take.
Yeah, I mean, the Miracle Rogue, I usually find the best ways to win as a Miracle Rogue in this matchup is to apply early pressure and then have removal for the first threat, and it looks like he's going to have that. He's got the coin SI7 agent. You see he just went to the face with that, with the 2 damage on the SI7 agent. I think it's perfectly reasonable. He's playing very aggressive here. Getting in 6 more damage this turn. Really,
usually I don't attack with the face there. I usually save it, but
yeah, I mean this is definitely how I usually play the matchup. But I mean, talking to you, talking to Hosty, and talking to other people who are definitely very good at this matchup, I find that yeah, you got to play the Giant here. I don't think you play the Drake. I mean, you do have to. I mean, you do have to.
I actually would play the Drake here. It does come out with 9 health, which is more than 8 health, obviously, with the Mountain Giant.
That's fair.
So usually I go turn, if I have this hand, I usually go turn. Well, then again, you can't Soulfire this turn, or you can't play the Giant next turn. So
yeah.
He's gonna play the Giant and.
Oh, that sucks. He lost the Drake there. Generally, I opt for the Giants just because they apply a lot more pressure. He doesn't have the Faceless here, but if he top decks the Faceless, like, it's a much stronger opening since the Giant ends the game pretty quickly. If you, I mean, it is worth noting, like you were mentioning, I think you did make a really good point there. It's very possible he has the necessary removal to get rid of the first threat, and you'd much rather him spend those cards to remove the Drake and then follow up with a Giant, than for him to get rid of the Giant first and then you follow up with a Drake. But,
okay, so he's just gonna go 8 to the face right now.
Yeah,
it's not looking too good for the Miracle Rogue. But then again, he does have the second Deadly Poison and Blade Flurry, so he can actually clear the board here.
Yeah, he does have a very strong hand here. I mean, he's had it pretty much exactly the hand you need to stay toe to toe with the handlock deck, and he's doing that. He's already gotten down to 12 health. Tice does have a Defender of Argus, but nothing. Ooh, there's a Giant. Not quite. Yeah, he can't play the Giant yet, but he does have access to that. I don't know if Tice is going to live 2 turns long enough to play the Giant in the taunt here.
Yeah, I don't know. He is getting really low. It looks like he's going to opt for the tap and hope for a Molten Giant would probably be best case scenario here. Yeah, obviously.
I mean, he's pretty much just putting himself dead to Leroy here. And Earthen Ring's a pretty good pickup. Allows him to kind of recover from that tap. But Alesh has got 9 damage here already. So potentially, if he could opt to play the Drake, and if Tice has no answer to the Drake, then it's those Eviscerates are going to do extra damage. I'm pretty sure I would just play the Drake here. Probably swing. No, you probably don't swing one to the face just in case he does have the Molten Giants. But I mean, how much?
Well, it doesn't really change much because him already being at 13, he can Molten Giant and taunt it up.
Yeah, it doesn't change too much. I think it's more of a factor of how close you are to lethal. So if you play the Azure Drake here, next turn you've got 10 damage off the Eviscerates, assuming the Azure Drake lives, which we know is a distinct possibility considering the hand that Tice has right now. He doesn't have any fantastic ways to remove the Drake outside of. Well, he could Defender and then trade, but
Yeah, but he
you're
really has to save that for a big creature to taunt up.
exactly. He does have the Shadow Flame and the big Game Hunter, but so if you got 10 damage off the Eviscerates, and then you got 1 damage off the Dagger, and then 1 additional damage if you reset your Dagger. I guess you want to see what you draw here, though. So
So he
looks
does
like
go
he
with the
does
Drake
opt to.
and
Yeah, I think drawing this. I think drawing the Sap like definitely makes swinging for the face for one a much more favorable play. Is because now even if he does, you're not that scared about the Molten Giant at this point because you can just sap it if he does have the Molten
he
Giant.
does
play.
draw the Drake here, but he can't play it and taunt up as well. So I wouldn't be surprised just to see a big game hunter and Argus here. I mean,
Yeah.
he's getting really low. It feels like he has to taunt up, but
Yeah, I mean, I think that's. I almost feel like you have to do that in this situation. I mean, the fact he did play the Dread kind of indicates. I mean, he didn't have lethal last turn, where like Leroy Shadow Step would have been lethal. So you know like it's hard to put him on Leroy. I feel like in this situation, but at the same time, like you just gotta taunt here pretty soon. Oh, he's gonna go for
oh
the
wow.
Shadow Flame. I don't know. I mean, you definitely want to taunt your larger minions, but a sap is such a blowout. I don't know if you
Yeah,
can
I don't mind
afford.
that play because next turn he can go the Twilight Drake and taunt,
Yeah, you
which might put him
can.
back in the game.
You can, but if he had the, did he have? He's got 7 mana, so he had
Yep.
6. He had 10 damage, so not quite lethal, but definitely in a position to set up that lethal next to have lethal next turn.
Yep, and it looks like the game's gonna come to an end next turn. There's just nothing Tice can do here.
Well, I mean, he can play the taunted Drake, but again, he's got the sap to deal with
Yep.
that. So
He has plenty damage to finish Tice this next turn. So it looks like Alesh is actually gonna take the lead in the series here and be up 3-2.
yeah, I mean, who'd have thunk it? It looks like maybe the curse of 4-0 is here for Tice as well.
Yep, Tice is really thinking about this one, but little does he know there's nothing he can do.
Yeah, bro.
He doesn't know that
I
Alesh.
I think he's got an inkling of what's about to happen here. He's just trying to think of what's the best way to prevent any possible lethals from happening. I mean, I think you have to play the Twilight Drake taunt here. I mean, I'm trying to think of what else you could do. You could try to YOLO life tap, but I'm not sure
Yeah,
YOLO life tap is the best.
I guess the
thing.
only way. No, I don't think there's any way he
Yeah.
can survive.
Yeah,
If he
like-
taps into a Molten Giant, he can Owl and then Argus, but
Yeah, I mean, I guess Molten Giant's really the best thing you could tap into in this situation, right?
even that wouldn't save you.
Yeah, and then you lose this play, which this play is very strong if you didn't have the sap. So I think you have to take this play. It's much safer than doing the life
there's-
tap.
There's the well played, and Tice
Yeah.
knows that this game's just about over.
Yeah,
Just wants them to show the lethal real quick.
another game ending fast Leroy combos.
Yeah, Leroy's been a very. Everybody's saying Leroy's overpowered. I don't see why.
No, not at all. He's a perfectly fine card, right? All right. Well, so we get to see lots of Miracle Rogue doing its thing today. So Alesh taking that one and going up 3-2 over Tice.
Yep, that Miracle Rogue's doing some work. Looks like Tice, he's running out of decks. This is his last deck. He's forced to play the Druid. What do you think about this matchup?
Well, I mean, Druid's fine. I'd be pretty happy in this situation. I think Druid has a. It's not like an absolutely incredible Miracle Rogue matchup, but you run a fair number of taunts and you do run a fairly aggressive curve as well. Talking about Druid mid-range in particular, which is what this deck appears to be.
I think I'm gonna actually have to disagree with you there. I think Miracle Rogue has a very, very good matchup against the Druid. Like he's playing cards like Cairn and Ragnaros. Well, Ragnaros is a great card, but it might be hard to live to turn 8 against a Miracle Rogue because if the Cairn gets sapped, that's just gonna be game changing.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're definitely right about the cards you mentioned. Like this build in particular is a little bit more top heavy. You're running the Wild Growths and you're running, like you mentioned, the Cairn and the Ragnaros. Also running Faceless Manipulator. Like a lot of those are very slow cards that tend to be very susceptible to sap, like you mentioned. So I think this build of Druid mid-range is definitely weaker to Miracle Rogue than most builds. But I mean, I find and then Wild Grove too, like essentially being almost a waste of a card. It's kind of like if you go Innervate Yeti and then the Yeti gets sapped. It's kind of similar. Obviously, you get a little bit more of a permanent effect from the Wild Grove, but
Yeah, if he ramps into his big creatures fast, if he gets one of the wild growths and plays on turn 2, that could definitely give him a good chance to win the game. But I'm gonna
yeah.
definitely have to give this advantage to the Miracle Rogue.
Yeah, I think I think I'm going with the Druid here. Mark of the Wild's another card that's really bad against Sap too. But again, I think I gotta give this one to the Druid. The ability for the Druid to play very aggressively, and again, like if they don't have the Saps, like we're talking a lot about Sap. Like Sap again is one of the better cards in this matchup. And if the Miracle Rogue doesn't have the Sap, and they get a Druid of the Claw, or they get an especially powerful Mark of the Wild taunt down, I think that can be pretty nasty
Yeah,
for the Rogue.
and if the Miracle Rogue just doesn't draw the gadgets in, sometimes you just sit there helplessly and watch your opponent pound at your face the entire game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that has anything to do with the matchup, but just the nature of Miracle Rogue.
Right,
so.
right. So, all right, well, let's jump into this game, see if Tice can tie it up against Alesh.
Yeah, it should be a good one. Will
Sure.
Will Alesh take down Tice this game, or is Tice going to drag this series out to a final and epic Game 7? We'll have to see right now.
I'm hoping it goes to Game 7. This has been such a good matchup so far. It can't end. It's too early.
Yeah, indeed. All right, so we got Lesh on Miracle Rogue, and we got Tice on Druid here. So looks like a pretty powerful opening hand for Tice. He mulligans a Faceless. I definitely agree with that, but he's got the Innervate for the Druid of the Claw. And then Lesh with that Sap. We're talking a lot about Sap. Do you think that Sap's going to perhaps target a Druid of the Claw here?
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to. The Innervate's going to come out, and especially drawing the second Druid of the Claw. It's going to probably go turn 3 Druid of the Claw, turn 4 Keeper, into turn 5 Druid of the Claw.
Indeed. With that first Druid of the Claw getting sapped, I am quite sure.
Then again, he could just clear the Druid of the Claw with the backstab of the SI agent. Might be even better.
Yeah, that definitely could be possible. So here's the Druid of the Claw turn. I mean, I think you have to make this play. Just very powerful. If he doesn't have the sap, really puts you ahead. So let's see.
Yeah, his curve's looking so well right now. You just got to play the curve. I think that's your best shot of beating the Miracle Rogue.
Yeah, I agree. And this is
again, he might be thinking that he wants to save that keeper. So maybe he doesn't want to. All right, well he is gonna go with the.
He's gonna go with the taunt one. What do you think about that?
I agree with it against Miracle Rogue. The 4/4 just dies so easily to eviscerate. And this really makes the Miracle Rogue burn his cards.
Yeah, like if he had made the 4/4 here, he could go backstab SI7 agent and trade for that 4/4 and the Innervate, which would be pretty devastating. So
he does sap it.
Yeah, I mean obviously the sap's really strong here. I think it would have been even worse for Tice though if he had. Oh, there's another Innervate. Do you Innervate the Argent Commander here?
You could. I don't think so. I think I would just play the keeper here.
I think I would Innervate it. The Innervate loses a lot of value the later in the game you get, and
that is true.
I think this is a really good turn. I mean, and you also like the keeper. There's not a lot of value of doing 2 damage to the face. I mean, obviously you do want to pressure the rogue, but I don't put a lot of value on using the keeper this turn, and I don't put a lot of value on having keeping the Innervate for later. So I'm pretty sure
he's putting a lot of thought into it.
Yeah, he is definitely thinking about it. So I mean, what are it looks like he's going to go for the keeper and save that Innervate. Maybe
I think the reason he's doing that is because looking at his hand, like he's still curving out well with the 5 and the 6, and Innervating out the Druid of the Claw kind of makes his turn to 6 a little iffy.
That is a fair point. If he does Innervate that commander, then he doesn't really. He's got the commander's a fine turn 6 play. It's not like he's got anything else he's playing on turn 6.
But it is going to get cleaned up quite easily with the Deadly Poison SI agent and.
Yeah, like that keep. I mean, that's part of why I didn't feel great about playing the keeper there. The keeper really doesn't do anything, whereas having that you could use the keeper. I mean, on turn 6, not necessarily this turn, to trade for along with the hero power for a 3 drop.
I think this is definitely a better turn to use the Innervate. Just go Wrath, Innervate, play the Druid of the Claw that you already had out, because you obviously get the choice with the other one.
Yeah, looks like that's what he goes for. Protecting his, using the Innervate there and the Wrath, protecting his Druid of the Claw from being able to be taken out by the 3/3 and the Deadly Poison.
Yep, but it is going to get cleaned up with the Azure Drake backstab hero or weapon here, so...
Yeah, but I mean, Alesh has a very good hand here. Lots of strong removal. One thing to note is he does have that Blade Flurry, and now he doesn't have the Deadly Poison anymore. So that Blade Flurry could be really weak here unless he draws a second Deadly Poison.
That is true, and
backstab off the top to take care of the Argent Commander.
But he doesn't really have a follow-up for that. It's just going to be like dagger up and hit phase.
Well,
Tice did... Ooh, he did have Earthen Ring, my bad.
Yeah, he has Earthen Ring, so he does have a decent board here.
Yeah, but Tice did draw the Ancient of Lore, which is perfect timing, right before turn 7, so...
Indeed, so you're definitely dropping that Ancient of Lore. Drawing 2 cards here.
Yep.
Get some options here.
It's a Chillwind Yeti. Ooh, and the Rag.
I would say those are some pretty good cards he drew. A lot of really strong threats there. So what does Alesh do here? I think you want to deal with that 5/5 here. You got a couple ways to do it. You
could even sap it, but
no, I don't think you sap. I don't think you can give him. Do you think you give him 2 cards or 5 life here? Obviously, the 5 life's not relevant now.
I don't mind it just because it's really hard to have 7 mana, free 1 turn.
Mm-hmm.
Like looking at his hand, doesn't look like he's gonna have another chance to play it anyways.
Yeah, I mean, again, that 5 life could be relevant as it nears the end of the game where you're trying to get the Leroy combo off.
It seems to be one of those games where the Miracle Rogue just can't draw the Gadgetzan, and they're just...
Yeah.
There's little you can do when that happens.
No, I would say some of these sort of grindy matchups like Druid and Warrior really looks finding Gadgetzan as the key to the matchup, and like you said, no Gadgetzan here.
Huh. I wonder why he took 5 damage to the face there instead of just killing it with the SI agent.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering that myself. That seems a little questionable, I think. But so Rag not quite as good now. He's got 2 3/3s on the board. A lot easier to deal with it here. Do you think you go with the Yeti in this situation, or do you still?
I think I still just slap Rag. It most likely is going to hit one of the 3/3s, and it just seems to be the best play. I mean, another play you could do like
my greetings. So I forgot to say hello at the beginning of the game, so give him a couple greetings here now, I guess.
Oh, and he did draw the Gadgetzan.
Nice, that's a good top deck for him. And do you play the Shadow Step to save your Gadgetzan, or do you hang on to that Shadow Step for Leroy?
I think he drew the Gnomish Inventor from. I think you kind of have to Shadow Step it here because it's really your only card draw. Well, you got the Gnomish Inventor. Excuse me.
Yeah. I'd be pretty. I don't know. I'd find that to be. I think that's a difficult decision because on the one hand, like you said, it is your only Gadgetzan you have. Not entirely unlikely your opponent's going to have swipe in this situation as Tice does. But you are going to need that Shadow Step for Leroy here. At the rate with the Druid having as many cards as he does in hand, like the odds of him having lethal here pretty soon are reasonably high.
Yeah, and you have to keep in mind he doesn't run the Cold Blood, so that Shadow Step's pretty important when he has to deal a lot of damage to win the game.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. So getting a pretty exceptional trade here enabled by the Fan of Knives.
Yep, and it looks like Kodo is going to be putting in work this next turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kodo. You don't see this card much, but lately it has been popping up quite a bit in Druid, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a lot of good targets, especially with Inventor being a little bit more popular Miracle Rogue lately. Kodo's going to get some Nom-Nom-Noms here.
Yeah, but I think you go ahead and play the Druid of Claw and Taunt here just to be on the safe side.
Yeah.
He did use both of his saps. Yeah, but he does go with the taunt. I don't feel like you got to push damage right away because there is a possibility that you could be dead this turn if you don't taunt it. So
yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that. And with both saps gone, the taunt is just exceptionally powerful against the Miracle Rogue.
Yeah, he's so far ahead at this point. He doesn't need to take risks.
Indeed. Oh, he's already saying well played. So he must be anticipating a. He's either anticipating
Combo
the
here.
Force of Nature combo, or he's just knows he's so far behind that there's not a lot of ways to come back. So what do you do here? I think do you just drop the rag here, or do you?
I think so.
Yeah, that's definitely the play I would make here. Your other you could drop 2 Yetis too, but I
And he's,
think
he's mousing over the Drake. He's like, come on.
oh
He
no,
did hit
no,
a, he did
no,
hit a
Drake.
minion though.
Yeah, 3-3 is still pretty good. Although doing 8 to the face isn't the worst in this situation either. But no, I mean I think you definitely want the minion though because you are really the only way you're losing is if he has a combo here pretty soon, which doesn't look like. Unless, oh, he does have both Shadow Steps now, so if he can deal with this taunt and then draw into Leroy, he might have a chance, but
Blade Flurry.
yeah. Well, he's got the spell power there, so not the worst Blade Flurry, but
Okay.
how much?
I think that's game right there.
Yeah, so can he remove? Yeah, he can. Oh, okay.
Oh, he
no.
can remove the.
Yeah, he can get rid of the rag, but
Failed to notice that. It's a little blurry.
Here's a
Failed to notice that had 4 health.
6, 7, 8. So we can't quite kill him this turn, but I'd say dropping 2 Yetis at this point in the game is pretty solid, wouldn't you?
Yep, but okay, top deck
No.
and Leroy wouldn't quite be enough.
No, he's 1 off even if he top decks Leroy, so Auctioneer's the next best thing, but at this point, being at 8 life, you've really got to clear the board here. And if you're kind of just goldfishing here, top deck solo, double prep is interesting. But this isn't going to cut it. I think this is the end for Alesh's run with Miracle Rowing. I think we're going to see a game set. Ooh, and the concession. He doesn't even let Tice finish him off here. So it all comes down to this. We got an epic Game 7 between Tice and Alesh, all tied up at 3 apiece. If Tice wins this one, he'll be the first player to win 5 King of the Hill events in a row.
Yeah, like we said earlier, it was Alchemix and Savage that also was tied with 4-0, and we're gonna see if the curse ends here.
Indeed.
It's gonna be a Druid mirror match, so this should be. It looks like the decks are pretty similar too. Only a couple cards off.
Yeah, I mean they're really surprisingly similar. Given how I kind of feel these are fairly unconventional Druid mid-range builds.
Yeah, the only difference I see is the Kodo for the Black Knight.
Yeah, well, I think another significant difference is the 1 gold Zor Drake in Alesh's build and the 2 non-gold Drakes in Tice's build. That gold could really make a difference in the intimidation factor.
With the gold swipe, so.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, if I'm getting swiped by a gold swipe, I'm feeling a lot worse about my life than if I'm getting swiped by a regular swipe. I'm just like, yeah.
It's important though. The Black Knight in Alesh's deck.
That is very true.
Yeah.
Black Knight is a very crucial card in the Druid against Druid decks. You often see it in Warrior decks. A lot of the modern Warrior decks are packing Black Knight, and it's very strong against Druid. Kind of gained popularity with Gara winning DreamHack with that ramp deck a little while back, and so Alesh having Black Knight here is going to be pretty strong against Tice in the mirror match, I would say.
Yeah, but then again, there's only Tice might go into this match knowing that Alesh's Druid deck probably does play the Black Knight, so I wouldn't be surprised to see the Druid of the Claws come out and charge for him, which would make the Black Knight completely useless.
Yeah, I mean,
other than the 1 of Mark of the Wild in the deck.
Yeah, I mean, Black Knight's definitely not a unreasonable card at all to face against a fellow Druid opponent. So,
Absolutely.
A lot of times playing those Druid of the Claws in charge mode allows you to not only play around Black Knight but also push a lot of damage and kind of keep an aggressive curve going.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm excited to see who wins this one.
Yeah, man, Game 7.
Yeah.
Game 7.
This is good stuff. Do you think Tice is going to keep the streak going, or do you think the curse is going to keep him down?
I know Tice wants this win bad. Pull ahead of the Alchemix and Savage, like I mentioned. I think he's gonna take it. I think he's a smart enough player to realize he has to, charge the Druid of the Claws. He's probably not gonna play Mark the Wild unless he's trading up. So I'm gonna have to give it to Tice here.
Do you think Tyson's going to win? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think both players are going to play really, really well, and I don't know. I believe in the curse right now. I think I think Tyson's going down. I don't think if it's gotten this far, I can't not believe in the curse right now. So,
All right, well, let's jump into Game 7 and see who can take down the series.
Let's see if Tice can do
Let's
it.
do it.
All right, guys, it all comes down to this: Druid versus Druid. Oh, look, there's the Black Knight there,
It's
and
the Black Knight.
yeah, in Alesh's hand. So I think you definitely keep the Black Knight. I mean, I keep everything but the Keeper, just like Alesh is looking there.
Yeah, I agree with that. But Tice does have the 2 Harvest Golems.
Hey, throws back the Wrath. What do you think about throwing back the Wrath there?
No, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
It's not a great card against Druid, other than clearing up the first half of the Harvest Golem. So I think I'm okay with that.
That's fair. I mean, it does. It does trade up well against, say, like a Zordrex with a hero power and such, but I definitely can see that. I mean, a little unfortunate for Alesh that Tice does have both his Harvest Golems here. So.
But he also has Mark the Wild, so maybe something could go wrong with that.
That's very true. I mean,
future.
Alesh does have the Keeper of the Grove, so Tice has got to play it safe with those Harvest Golems. Can't get greedy and Mark of the Wild the Harvest Golem here.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised to actually see that happen on turn 4, but then again, Alesh wouldn't be able to Black Knight until turn 6 anyways.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's got the Keeper too, which is really strong as well.
He did top deck the Innervate,
Yeah,
so he actually can play it on turn 4.
So whatever's getting marked is going to be Black Knighted, I'm sure. I think, what do you do in this situation here? So, I mean,
I think you just Mark the Wild and Hero Power.
Yeah, I think you're right, because you get to trade for the Yeti, you keep a taunt. It's a pretty solid play. I mean, he's going to lose. The Keeper is going to hurt him pretty bad as he gets both the Mark of the Wild and the Death Rattle on the Harvest Golem silenced. But I think you're definitely right. I think you got to trade for the Yeti here.
It's either that or just play your own Yeti. But
Yeah.
I think I definitely agree with this.
There you go. So, I mean, you get fair value out of this either way. Obviously, you would hope that he doesn't have the Keeper of the Groove, but obviously he does.
And Tice, knowing that, Alesh is, playing Druid, obviously, most Druid decks do play the Black Knight. He wants to get that Mark of the Wild out of his hand before Alesh can actually Black Knight it.
Yeah. So if you're Alesh, what do you? I mean, I'm pretty sure I play Keeper of the Grove here and silence it. Is that what you do here too?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you there. I mean, either deal damage or silence. They're both actually. I think it's actually better to deal the 2 damage because it leaves it with the 2/1 and it's actually undamaged, so he can't heal it if he does happen to run heals. But just slightly minor thing to.
That's fair. Yeah, it's essentially the same thing either way. There's a 2/1 on the board. Again, like you said, one's damaged, one's not damaged. So, yeah, that's definitely a fair point. So, ooh, it looks like he goes for the silence. So, slight misplay, but not really. I mean,
not if he's gonna innervate Hero Power. That's the same exact thing.
What do you think about using that innervate? I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah, I don't know if I would. Like, if he top decks, say he can't innervate the Black Knight to kill the Druid of the Claw now if it does happen to go out in taunt form. But I would be surprised to see it go in taunt form here. I think he's just gonna charge it into the Druid of the Claw.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the play here. And that is indeed what he does. Probably with a Cairn. I'm looking at that Cairn, thinking that's a really good play on turn 6 here.
So Harvest Golem, a pretty good top deck there.
Yeah, with no other real plays, just having the swipe in his hand. And that Harvest Golem trades really well with that 4/2 on the following turn.
This Cairn coming out next turn is going to be really hard for Alesh to deal with, though.
Yeah, I mean, he did top deck the Stampeding Kodo, but yeah, I think you gotta play the Cairn here.
I think you still just slam the Cairn and hope for the best.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're doing more than hoping if you're slamming a Cairn against a Druid player.
Yep, you don't got to do much hoping. You just.
Yeah. So.
Oh, but he did top deck the Blood Mage, which was huge top deck there.
Pretty clutch Blood Mage here, being able to kill not only the first half of the Cairn, but also that 4/2. So, in this situation, what do you do here? So the Kodo's got. I mean, I think I probably play the Kodo here.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to agree with you there.
Yeah, probably Kodo Hero Power, or you could Hero Power first, kill the 1/1, and then Kodo killed the 2/3, and then
You could
ran.
even just play the Yeti and the Harvest Golem, just really put a big board out there. But if you do that, I
That's a
think
good play too.
you'd have to kill the Blood Mage, I believe.
Yeah, like I mean, well, he has one. I mean, obviously, Alesh does have the second swipe. Do you put him on the second swipe
No,
if you're
you
Tice?
can't. Yeah, I don't think you can after just seeing one.
Yeah,
Um, so he's going over his options here. It looked like he was debating playing the Wrath.
yeah, Wrath
But
with a Kodo here.
yeah. So if the Kodo hits the Blood Mage, I think you just ignore the Harvest Golem and go face. But if it hits the Harvest Golem, I think you just hero power probably the. Okay, well it hits the Blood Mage, so
Yeah.
I don't have to
But
think.
yeah,
So,
I think you'd hero power the Blood Mage just wanting to get rid of that spell damage. But looks like he's going to opt for the board or well, no, just Wrathing the Harvest. I don't know if I like this play. Like you're kind of missing out on using a hero power, and you're also using your Wrath in kind of a I wouldn't say suboptimal, but just not as strong of a Wrath as you possibly could against, say, like if he plays a Yeti, you could Wrath the Yeti and then use the Kodo to finish off the Yeti, which is a lot stronger than I think at least than taking off the first half of a Harvest Golem.
yeah, I mean it's fine though. It uses his mana.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. I mean,
I wouldn't call it a misplay, but
yeah. I mean, it's
I,
not. It's not a huge error or anything, but I kind of feel like saving the Wrath is a little bit stronger. So he's going to go ahead and use that second swipe here, which is okay. I mean, he doesn't really have a lot of other good plays. He could play the Drake out, but if he's playing the Drake, then he's the Cairn is going to just finish that off. Ooh, and there's a Force of Nature.
Yep.
So together, Tice and Alesh have the Force of Nature combo, but individually they're each lacking opposite pieces. So
yeah, it's looking really good for Thijs right now. He just has
Yeah.
that massive board control.
yeah, it looks like I mean, it looks like he's getting close to that 5-0. Maybe he's gonna break the curse here.
And that double wild growth isn't
I
going to
was,
help at this
yeah, I was
stage
gonna
of the
say
game.
usually when you lose as Druid mid range, you have some combination of Innervates, Wild Growths, and Savage Roars in your hands. So
So let's see. He has 7, 9. That's actually lethal, right?
is it?
Yeah.
He's got
Yep,
6,
that's
10,
game
yep,
over
15,
right there.
16.
Wow, Thijs.
You're right.
Thijs is up, goes 5-0.
Wow. So
Well, 5-0. Okay.
it's five. I mean, he's first player ever to go win 5 King of the Hill events in a row. So Thijs takes this one in decisive fashion. Well, thanks everybody for joining us for this week's iHeartU Cough event. We really appreciate iHeartU having both of us out here again. I'm DKMR Varanus from Team Don't Kick My Robot, and we've got DKMR Brad here as well. Be sure to tune in next week when Don't Kick My Robot's very own Hosty faces off against Tice. Maybe we'll turn this into the 5-win curse. I don't know, or maybe Tice is gonna take it all the way and go for 6 wins and keep his streak going. But
yeah, I'm really excited to see that matchup. Like we've been mentioning the entire games here, that Tice has been doing really well in tournaments. And Hosty, this past week, he actually won the NESL on Wednesday and took second on the NESL on Sunday. So he's been performing really well. It's going to be a really great matchup.
yeah, Hosty's super hot right now in the tournament circuit as well. So it'll be a clash of tournament titans here next week on iHeartU Cough as Hosty takes on Vice. So definitely tune in next week. And also just want to give a shout out to the DKMR Invitational. We got that event goes on every Thursday at 9 p.m. EST, so you should check it out. Brad just recently came off a win from the first DKMR Invitational against VVV Wampy, so congrats to you, Brad.
Thank you. All right. Well, I'm just gonna take a minute to thank our sponsors. Hearthstats is where you keeping track all your games at. Gunners, protect your eyes while you play. I'm wearing a pair right now. Just got them last week from Coach Poach, and I'm loving them. My eyes, usually if I game for a long time, my eyes get sore, but these really work. You can just sit here and play video games, and your eyes don't bother you at all. 2P, your destination for all your gaming content and home of the DKMR Invitational, as Varanus mentioned. Make sure to check out articles with our partners. That comes out weekly on iHeartU, BlizzPro, Gosu Gamers, and Hearthstone players. And a special shout out to Team DKMR. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at don'tkickmyrobot.com, on Twitter at don'tkickmyrobot, excuse me, and follow me at Brad underscore, oh, I'm sorry, don't DKMR underscore Brad. And Varanus is DKMR underscore Varanus.
Indeed, and be sure to also check out iHeartU.com, and you can follow them on Twitter at iHeartU site. So lots of good stuff there. Then a special shout out to Sennheiser for providing the headset I'm wearing right now. Fantastic comfort, fantastic quality. But again, really appreciate all you guys coming out. Really hope you enjoyed those matches. I know I did. I know Brad did. We had a excellent time here shoutcasting for you guys. So hope you enjoyed it, and hope to see you guys again soon. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.
See you guys.